2011 just ended. I've visited my first Congress and Berlin sites, and I was motivated to learn more about IT security and hacking. Now I kind of felt like I was even more committed to this field. But as you probably know, learning IT security is not that easy. Especially in 2011, the resources were a lot less. There was basically no YouTube channel that you could watch. There were barely any blog posts about hacking stuff, and especially not on a level that you could understand. The talks at conferences were extremely complicated, and they were not designed or intended for me to follow along. So it's obviously very hard to learn more about IT security and hacking around. But of course, I was still a member at Checkspace and worked at different projects. All of that changed with the next t-shirt. So let's have a quick look at it before I tell you more about it. I wore this t-shirt so much. This t-shirt was very special to me when I got it. So as you can see, it shows a flag and it says Stripe. And this is indeed a t-shirt from the payment processor Stripe. I think it's a very classic but cool looking design. And the blue color really faded here already. It's really not in good shape anymore. As you already know, I now have already a little bit of experience in various IT topics and development and so forth. And so I also have like news sources that I occasionally read to stay up to date. This includes Twitter, but also Y Combinator's Hacker News. Now this Hacker News has nothing to do with IT security, but it's a place where a lot of development and IT world news are being shared. You get technical news, but also general news about like new acquisitions of some kind of new startups and whatever. It's kind of, I guess, like the Silicon Valley tech startup scene that is driving those news there. And then one day I stumbled over this blog post being shared from the Stripe blog that they are organizing a CTF. At this point, I have not heard about CTFs before, and this was the first time I heard about it. So you can imagine this was kind of the turning point in my life. So I read this blog post and I learned that like CTFs or wargames are basically challenges where you have to hack small applications to solve them and then find a flag and so forth. And they wrote that they were inspired by I/O Smash the Stack. I've mentioned I/O Smash the Stack before, and this is how I found out about I/O Smash the Stack. I only knew about I/O Smash the Stack because of the Stripe blog post introducing their CTF. So the Stripe CTF was a very typical war game in that sense that you were given an SSH login into level 1, and then you had to exploit some bug or figure something out, and then you get the password of the next user, and then you SSH into level 2, and then you solve that, and so forth. And what I remember about it was that it introduced me to buffer overflows. Or let's sort of say there was a challenge about buffer overflow, and I have heard about buffer overflows before, but I had no clue about buffer overflows. As you also know, I've been in university, so we also had classes about a bit more low-level programming stuff. And I think I started to a bit understand what it means to have a buffer overflow. And with a lot of Googling, researching, and looking around, I was actually able to solve this buffer overflow challenge. And this was incredible to me. I mean, this was basically giving me the drug shot. I was hooked. I was so proud of myself that I was able to solve this because it is quite a complex topic, especially at first, and that I was able to navigate and research the stuff online so far that I was able to solve those challenges. And in the end, I actually managed to solve all of them. And when you solved all those challenges, you could get the Stripe t-shirt. And when the t-shirt arrived, I was so incredibly proud of myself. And that's why I wore it so much. And yes, this was basically the start of my CTF career. After that, I obviously immediately hopped over to I/O Smash the Stack, which really punched me in the face. I/O Smash the Stack was very hard. And I remember I only managed to solve a few levels. But I/O Smash the Stack became something that would just like stay with me for a long time. It was like a puzzle that once in a while I would get back to and see if I know more or have new ideas and maybe I can solve challenges. You know, you don't need necessarily to solve these things in one go. I took a step back and saw maybe if I get some other inspiration and maybe a couple of weeks or maybe even months later I would get back to I/O Smash the Stack. I think this must have also been the time maybe where I discovered the exploit exercises or now exploit education, Protostar and so forth. And I think this was also the first time when I solved those. I mean, probably not right after the Stripe CTF, maybe not even the beginning of 2012, but this must have been roughly the time frame, maybe mid 2012 or so. Having now basically the doors opened into the Wargame and CTF world, I obviously discovered more of these kind of challenges. So I also remember playing W3 Charles a lot. I don't think I actually played normal CTFs in 2012 yet. I'm not sure if I discovered CTF time. I think it took me a little bit after playing war games that I probably found actually CTF time, or that I participated like in my first actual CTF. There's one thing I remember about IO Smash the Stack. There was obviously also an IRC channel where you could go to and talk with other people and maybe get a little bit of hints and advice. But you should not spoil any challenges. This was a hard rule, no solutions whatsoever. Nudging in the correct direction, maybe answering some questions, but no real hints and no spoilers. I remember one time like writing a comment about a challenge. I think it was something like, oh crap, I invested now hours reverse engineering that one binary and I just realized that level 11 had also the source code right there. And that was seen as a spoiler of that level. So the admin named Blah was angry that I would spoiler, and I defended myself that I don't think that's a spoiler, and then I got banned from that IRC. To this day, I'm mad that I got banned for this spoiler. This was not a spoiler, and I stand by that. Typical online experience, I understand it the same way nowadays when there are like people asking annoying questions or so. But the experience was not all that negative. I actually did receive quite a bit of help and support, and questions were answered. Stripe actually organized another CTF, I believe in August of 2012, and that was then web challenge based. I believe I played that one as well, but not as intensive as I played this one, just because, I was switching between university and working. And when this version of the CTF was running, I think I had more time. And then at the second one, I was busy with other stuff and I only had a little bit of time at the end. I do think I remember solving all those challenges as well and getting that t-shirt too, if I remember correctly. There was also a third Stripe CTF, which was about distributed systems. I think I started playing that one, but I don't think I solved all the challenges. So no t-shirt from there. So this t-shirt marked the start of CTF and war games for me. My fire was burning, the train was full force going ahead. There was no stop in sight. And I just kept like learning and soaking up everything that I could find about this topic and playing so many war games, and started to really learn a lot of the awesome small tricks and hacks that are out there. Very important t-shirt for me, but now it's time for it to go.